All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Arizona Cardinals in tonight's video. This is a fascinating team here, man. They began last season as kind of like an under the radar playoff potential team, and ultimately they ended up missing the playoffs, going 8-9. They did have a really nice, win streak in the middle of the season, but it, kind of tapered off towards the last 6 weeks or so. But they addressed majority of their offseason needs, or the things that ailed them last year, like pass rush. They went out there and they acquired Josh Sweat. They picked up Walter Nolan in the draft. They got possibly the best cornerback in the draft as well in Will Johnson. And I'm just so glad. I want to talk about some things with Arizona in today's video because it's June. It's the middle of June. There's not much going on. And I'm glad our Cardinals videos on this channel are finally starting to pick up, because usually when I make a Cardinals video or I talk about anything regarding the team, it's like you just have these NFL fans pop in the chat saying, well, Kyler Murray sucks. So, that's cool and all. That's cool, but Kyler Murray still sucks. So I don't think Kyler Murray sucks. And, to be quite frank with you, their offense last season, like, a lot of the times when I make Cardinals videos, well, people are like, well, Kyler sucks and so does the offense. Well, folks, at the end of the day, and I don't need to explain this to OG Cardinal fans, like, the defense was the issue last season, right? And it's weird. It's not weird. It's just taken a little bit of time for Jonathan Gannon to get this team where it should be. And the moves they made this past offseason should get Gannon the defensive pieces that he needs, right? So we look into this team. I was reading a PFF article, but before we do, actually hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. I try and make as many Cardinals videos as humanly possible, so hit that like button. If we try and get this one to 100 likes, folks, it means the world to me. I was reading a PFF article, and they were going through roster rankings heading into the 2025 season, and they had the Arizona Cardinals at 19th, and that kind of fits the bill with their 8-9 record. They had their biggest strength, rightfully so, is the rushing offense, which is another huge strength this upcoming season. Arizona, 144.2 rushing yards per game. That was 7th in the NFL. They tied for 9th in the NFL in PFF rushing grade. James Conner, had a phenomenal season. He really did. He had a 90.6 PFF rushing grade. That was 6th amongst qualified running backs. So James Conner was undisputedly a top 10 running back last season. And some concerns people have is like, all right, well, he's turning 30, or maybe he just turned 30. Isn't his production eventually going to go down? Maybe it is going to be this year. Maybe it's going to be next year, blah, blah, blah. He's also had some injury concerns recently, or in the previous seasons. At the end of the day, I think that just means they don't know that Trey Benson is already on this roster, and Arizona is already prepping for an eventual decline. Or that sounds so rude, because it's not like James Conner is going to be 1,000-yard running back and then just become like a 350-yard running back. That's what Trey Benson was drafted last season for. The biggest weakness by far was their rushing defense and their pass rush. All right, guys, I hope you're enjoying this video here. I have to hop on a flight really quick, which brings us to our sponsor in today's video, Mando. If I sound out of breath, it's because I am literally about to leave. Mando sent me a couple of new sticks of their Deodorant Plus Sweat Control, and I really like this. I was going to say flavor, but I guess that's the wrong word. The smell, bourbon leather here. You guys see the bottom of this screen here. It says control body odor anywhere with Shop Mando and get 20% off site-wide and free shipping with promo code Upton at shopmando.com. That link's going to be in the description of this video. It's also going to be pinned to the comments. If you guys watch this channel, I love my deodorant wipes from Mando. So thanks for sending more stuff. Let's get back to the video. I am gassed. Rush. All right. They weren't good at 2 years ago, actually, it was worse. Like 2023, it was horrible. There was absolutely zero zilts pass rush. Now, last season, they technically finished 13th in sacks with 41, but they tied for the second worst PFF pass rush grade in the NFL last season. They ranked amongst the bottom 8 in pressure rate and pass rush win rate, and that's why they went out there in free agency right when the offseason began and picked up former Eagle and Josh Sweat. And Josh Sweat, if we have time, we'll talk about Walter Nolan as well and Calais Campbell, but Josh Sweat just, like, it's almost like in an instant fixes my concerns along with their other acquisitions that their pass rush is going to be bad next season, because Sweat's 43 sacks for Philly since 2019. That's more than Arizona, any Cardinal over that span. All right, not even close, to be honest with you. So to me, the defense is good. And like I said, we'll get to Walter Nolan and Will Johnson. Hopefully we'll have time, because we've talked about him a couple of times on this channel before. But the bigger questions come offensively. Now, I don't really feel the same way, so we're not even really going to talk about Kyler, because we already have. I think he's a top 15, top 16 quarterback in the NFL, aka above average. You can get to the playoffs with him like we've seen before. You can win a playoff game with him, and he's like, what, 28? I mean, I don't have any concerns with Kyler Murray as long as he stays healthy, right? We can deal with all this stuff if it is an issue. If Drew Petzing's an issue, we can deal with all this next offseason. A big X factor for this upcoming year is probably Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously, but then sleeper-wise, Michael Wilson. All right, because the hope, and we'll talk about Marvin in 1 second, the hope is that he's eventually going to be a star, whether it's this season, next season, the season after that. He's on that star trajectory. And Trey McBride is one of the best tight ends in the National Football League. He's already a top 5 dude in the league. So they just need another receiving weapon, and that's where Michael Wilson comes in. His 64.5 PFF receiving grade last season was a slight decline compared to his rookie season in 2023. He also recorded fewer than 60 yards in every game after week 5. So if we can see Michael Wilson improve from his rookie season, and even, obviously from last season, that's going to really help Arizona become a multi-dimensional threat. But the biggest question people are having is Marvin Harrison Jr. Can he make a year 2 leap? And I don't know what it is. Like, maybe you guys can shed some light on here, because you guys probably deal with the critics for Marvin Harrison a lot more. Maybe you have your own critics or critiques for Marvin. The big talking point I keep seeing this offseason is how bad he is. I don't really understand it. In 17 games last year, he had 62 catches for 885 yards and 8 touchdowns. Face value, very good statistics. But when you get into the meat and potatoes, I do understand that consistency was an issue. He went way too long on quiet stretches, and there never seemed to be a huge connection or a huge chemistry with Kyler Murray. And he also struggled in contested catch situations, posted a 53.4% catch rate that was near the bottom of the entire NFL. And some people also saying he had bad separation. But more notably, his 38.1% of his total receiving yards came in just 3 games. 2 of them were against the Rams, and then the game against the Dolphins. The good news I have for Marvin Harrison Jr. is, first off, I don't have the same concerns. Can he make the leap or not? The good news is everybody's been saying at OTAs and all the fun stuff in the offseason is how much bigger he looks, how much stronger and more muscular he looks. So I don't have any concerns, to be quite honest with you, with the Cardinals offensive line. I know some people are talking about the right guard position. I'll try and look into it a little bit more, but I didn't really have any pressing needs that I needed to make known in this video. Real quick, round 1 and 2, it might have been the best you've seen in 3 years. Will Johnson in the second round is nuts. And then Walter Nolan at 16. I loved both of these moves, just truly. And if this is just for if you're still a naysayer about the Cardinals offense, Arizona didn't take a single offensive player till I want to say the 6th round. Correct me if I'm wrong. It could have been the 5th round, and his name is avoiding me right now. But Arizona went heavy, man. They went heavy in free agency and the draft on defense. That was the issue next season. If the offense even did what it did last year and the defense improves, well, it's a 10-win team. All right. So let me know what you guys are thinking. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and we'll see you soon. Peace.